The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, everyone. We're now calling this meeting to order. This is our evening session for the February 12th council meeting. The time is now 6:14 p.m. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Nico Reynoso.
Present.
Councilman Rafael Pinedo.
Present.
Councilwoman Digna Cabral is absent. Vice Mayor Maureen Porras.
Here.
Mayor Christy Fraga.
Present.
Mayor, you have quorum.
Thank you very much. Mr. City Attorney, do we need to take another vote on the absence of Councilwoman Cabral or the one from this morning stands?
The one from this morning stands.
Okay, thank you very much. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Vice Mayor Porras. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, agenda order of business. I do believe one item was deferred this morning for this evening's agenda.
Yes, ma'am. That'll be item 20A, was deferred to a date certain of April 9th by the applicant.
Okay, thank you very much. And is there any other additions or deletions to this agenda? Being none. All right, we will move on to the public comments. The public comments portion of this meeting is now open. If you would like to speak on any item on this agenda or anything germane to this council, now is your reasonable opportunity. You have 3 minutes to speak in a respectful manner towards this council. Please state your name and address for the record when you approach the podium. I do have 2 comment cards, which I will go ahead and start with. I have Mr. Vicente Peñajamo.
Good evening. Sorry about the phone mistake there.
No worries.
Vicente Peña with residence at 4455 Northwest, 102nd Place. Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. It has been quite a while since the last time I appeared before you. During the last couple of months, I've seen how former council persons and current council members have been cozying up to the Trump family. Little did you know, little did you expect that they were going to become a very big headache for you and a source of great fear amongst not only the residents of Doral, Venezuelans, but also our brothers, Nicaraguans, and Haitians. It amazed me when I saw one of the Trump family members here a couple of weeks ago, and then afterwards also in the press advocating for the removal of the incinerator. Great, but they've been here for 10 and 12 years. I've been residing in this city for 34, and I don't recall them ever complaining about the incinerator, at least not before the council. Could be just a coincidence, but discussing it a couple days ago with one of you, we all of a sudden said, well, very interesting. All this took place precisely during the time that the permit for the condos were coming up. The letters to Diaz-Balart and Salazar and so forth, I read them. Guys, they can't do anything. They're not the boss. Very nice, looks good, but unfortunately it's too late. Unless it's reversed, our brothers are going to find themselves in dire situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hamo. All right, we have Adriana Rubio.
Good evening. My name is Ariana Rubio Di Natale. I'm a resident at 7825 Northwest 107th Avenue. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone here and the city of Doral for intervening in a complex problem, which is the Midtown residence and the Century building. By a way of brief background, back in 2021, we had a hearing here where the amendment to the Midtown Doral PUD was discussed. At minute 35, the representative of the developer, the applicant, stated that the clubhouse would be the first construction and clearly indicated that it would be exclusively for the residents and owners. At minute 50, a resident, VC, intervened to highlight the consequences of the miscalculations in parking spaces and other issues. At minute 58, the developer's representative reconfirmed that the clubhouse would be exclusively for owners and residents and mentioned plans to provide a bus service to transport residents between the buildings. At minute 132, the mayor at that time reaffirmed that the clubhouse would be for the exclusive use of owners and residents. At the time of that hearing in 2021, the clubhouse had already been delayed for approximately 5 years. It was finally opened in April of 2024, almost 9 years later. And when it was open, it only had a gym. Notwithstanding this, the residents or the unit owners were charged an additional $120 per month, which only included the use of the gym because, as we see here today, the pool and remaining areas are yet to be seen. Additionally, a 3% annual inflation adjustment is applied to all owners, regardless of whether inflation exists. It's truly appalling how the owners have been treated. This was to be a 3 phases building with 1 phase being office. Now it's a 6 phases building with 1 rental community. Now, what's even more concerning is we pay $120 for this clubhouse. If we fail to pay this, a lien is going to be imposed in our units. And now the discussions that this clubhouse is going to be open to the public is very concerning to all unit owners. Extra parking spaces were promised, 134, none exist. We still have to share the visitor parking with all the businesses open below. If this clubhouse were to be open for the public, we would have approximately a 500 deficit of parking spaces. We strongly oppose this proposition.
I'm going to give you 20 seconds more, okay?
Yes. I think in addition to this, the 5 seconds is the clubhouse is already making approximately $2 million revenue with the homeowners paying for this clubhouse. There's no need to open this for the public.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone else for public comments at this time? I have no more comment cards. No more public comments? Okay, public comments will now close. Madam Clerk, let the record reflect no one else has chosen to speak at this time, and we'll move on to the first reading items.
First reading, item 20B, ordinance number 2025-10, fiscal year 24-25, second budget amendment. An ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of Doral, Florida, providing for an amendment increasing the general fund budget for fiscal year 24-25, as reviewed, modified, and approved by the city council at the meetings held on February 12th and March 12th, providing for transmittal by the city clerk, implementation, incorporation of recitals, severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
All right, Madam City Manager, Finance. Sol?
Yes, good evening, Mayor. Our Finance Director, Solange Perez, is going to do this item.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members, Madam Clerk, Madam City Manager, and City Attorney. The fiscal year 2024-2025 proposed budget amendment is needed to fund the settlement agreement and land acquisition from Doral 10 LLC as approved by Council via Resolution 25-37 for the fiscal year 2025 budget. A detailed summary of the line items amended is provided in Exhibit A. The change in the fiscal year 2025 general fund budget has a 21 million net increase on expenditures, and the increase will be funded with an in-use of fund balance / reserves. We respectfully request that the mayor and city council members authorize and approve the amendment to the general fund budget for fiscal year 2025. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sol. I'm going to go ahead and open up public comments for this item. Public comments is now open for 25-6052. Anyone that would like to speak on this item alone, please approach the podium. Being none, public comments is now closed. Madam Clerk, let the record reflect no one has chosen to speak at this time, and I will need a motion for approval.
Motion.
Motion to approve by Councilman Pinedo,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Reynoso. Madam Clerk, if there's no more questions, please call the roll.
Motion to approve ordinance number 2025-10 on first reading made by Councilman Pinedo, seconded by Councilwoman Reynoso. Councilman Pinedo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reynoso?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Porras?
Yes.
Mayor Fraga?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you very much. We move on to the next item.
Item C, ordinance number 2025-11, amending section 2-385B, an ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of Doral, Florida, amending Article 7, Code of Ethics, and Chapter 2 Administration of the city's Code of Ordinances by amending section 2-385, improper influence on immediate family members, providing for incorporation of recitals, incorporation into the code, severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and open up public comments for this item as well. Public comments is now open for item 25-6056. Being no public comments, it is now closed. Madam Clerk, let the record reflect no one has chosen to speak at this time. Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This item is, what it does is it removes a section that was added to the code back in 2022 that creates restrictions on transactions that members of the mayor, city council, charter officer, or legislative aides, or departments of any department heads of any department of the city can have with the city. And these transactions could include requesting permits, paying fees, so on and so forth. Miami-Dade County, Section 2-111.1, which is commonly known as the Code of Ethics, already provides for restrictions on what kind of activities family members, commissioners, and these restrictions due in order to the city of Doral and other municipalities in Miami-Dade County. And these provide for restrictions to avoid any impropriety, any abuse of power that can exist. This particular provision that we have is extremely expansive and really kind of frustrates normal family members, perhaps, of many of us that want to do something as pull a simple permit from doing so. So therefore, it's my suggestion that that be removed and instead be placed at all persons that are members or officers of the city or commissioners or council members have to abide by section 2-11.1, which already provides for conflict of interest in these type of transactions.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions for the City Attorney?
I have a comment, Mayor.
Yes, Vice Mayor Porras.
So I have a bit of a concern with this proposed change. I think it's bad public policy to remove a prohibition on allowing family members of the city council, the charter officials, the manager, or legislative aides from doing business with the city. I mean, I don't think we're in a position to enrich ourselves, from the council or enrich our family members. I think that it could really open the door to potential corruption. I'm not saying, that's happening or it's going to happen, but that's my fear, that it's going to open the door to corruption. And I think that this proposal, coupled with the other items that we've passed in the past, and also the next item that's coming up to raise the city manager's spending authority, coupled together is a real concern, because if we raise the manager's spending authority, it's not going to come to council. So how would we know about these contracts outside of doing a public records request? But then we changed the rules for the public records request so that council members would have to pay for public records. So I think it's really going to complicate our authority to really review contracts, to also, promote transparency. And so I just want to put it on the record that those are the reasons I'm not going to be supportive of this. And, I think the residents should know that this is really, in my opinion, bad public policy. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? I do have a question for the city attorney. Mr. City Attorney, removing this section of the code and rolling back to the ethics code, which is what would govern here for Miami-Dade County, would this allow members or family members of council to have contracts for the city?
No, it does not.
Would this allow us to do business with the city?
No.
Okay, so to my understanding, the only restriction that this code provided was for the processing of any type of permits. So basically, if someone's family member lives in the city, they would have to or be required to hire a contractor to come and process a permit because they themselves would not be able to process a permit if they're a family member of anybody working in the city of Doral,
That is correct, ma'am.
creating an undue burden on that family member. So this code, when written, was a stretch, to my understanding, which is why we're reverting back to the Miami-Dade County Ethics Code, correct?
Correct. Also, the Miami-Dade County Code of Ethics is pretty prescriptive. It's very detailed as to, what are the types of transactions, who are those immediate family members, and provides those definition. Where this section of our code is not as prescriptive, it kind of leaves it open, and therefore, it really provides more restrictions that really are necessary.
Right, and does this change affect the next item we'll be talking about, giving us an additional authority that we didn't have before?
No, these items are completely unrelated.
Okay, just wanted to make sure because I don't want to have a misperception to the public about what we're doing here. All right, if there's no other questions, then we'll go ahead and call the roll.
I need a motion.
Oh, I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilman Pinedo, second by Councilwoman Reynoso. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Motion to approve ordinance number 2025-11 on first reading, made by Councilman Pinedo, seconded by Councilwoman Reynoso. Councilman Pinedo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reynoso?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Porras?
No.
Mayor Fraga?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, we'll move on to item D.
Item D, ordinance number 2025-12, amending purchasing and procurement code. An ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of Doral, Florida, amending Article 5, purchasing and procurement, found in Chapter 2, administration of the city's code of ordinances by amending sections 2-318 and 2-323, providing for incorporation of recitals, incorporation into the code, severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
All right, thank you very much. I believe that our city manager was going to present this item with Mr. Casamayor. However, I will open up to public comments first on this item. Opening up for public hearing on item 25-6060. Anyone who would like to speak on this item, please approach the podium at this time. Being none, we will now close public comments for 25-6060. Madam Clerk, let the record reflect no one has chosen to speak at this time. Mr. Casamayor, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. Fernando Casamayor, Assistant City Manager, CFO. As you recall, last year, the manager's authority was increased to 30,000. Originally, the request was for 50,000. It was amended to 30. And we were asked to provide for 3 bids for anything over 10,000. During the past year, we've certainly tried to do those. It's become very cumbersome for us. 30,000 is still a limit that is pretty low compared to other municipal governments in the area. There's a table included in the memo that shows different municipalities that have spending authorities of at least 50,000, some over 100. The 3 bids for those over 10,000 become very, very cumbersome, and the intent certainly is to, put. I understand the intent is to get additional local vendors to participate, and it actually has kind of had the opposite effect, where local vendors didn't want to, go through the cumbersome bid process, which is some reason why particular small businesses in the Doral area don't do business with us, is because we do have a cumbersome procurement process. Every government has a cumbersome procurement process. And, we believe that if you do approve this and give the manager the authority of 50,000 and eliminate the 3 bids, it will assist us with getting local vendors. It'll help us with things that are routine, like groceries or catering, which, once you get past $10,000, now we're requiring additional bids. It's very difficult. For instance, if we're going to buy something from Publix for a public meeting, to get 3 bids from additional grocers. Those are the reasons why we're asking for this. We will continue to report on all the purchases that we make and all the contracts that we enter into, even those that are under the manager's authority, in our monthly reports from procurement. So,
Thank you, Mr. Casamayor. Any questions from the council?
I have some comments, Mayor.
Okay, Vice Mayor Porras.
So I'm going to reiterate my comments. And again, I think that we're opening the door to really removing transparency. And, I understand why we would want to raise that purchasing power. And I'm not saying that there's any corruption that's going to happen, but I really do think that we need some sort of way to check these contracts that are up to $50,000, or at least, some sort of notification about where they're going, since if we raise this, we're not going to be able to hear it at the city council level. That's just my, personal concerns with currently raising this, and that's why I'm going to be opposed to it.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments or questions?
I do.
Yes, Councilwoman Reynoso.
To the mayor, question.
Yes.
Compared to other municipalities, where would this increase put us in?
So if you look at the table that's attached, for instance, Coral Gables has a $100,000 purchasing authority for the manager. Miami Beach has a $100,000 purchasing authority. That's not in the table. I found that later. City of Miami has a $100,000 purchasing authority. Homestead has 50,000, Pinecrest has 50,000, Aventura has 50,000, Miami Gardens, Sunny Isles, and North Miami Beach are all at 50,000. So that should answer your question.
So there are no other municipalities that are at the $30,000 range.
There are some that are smaller, much smaller than Doral. I didn't, look at El Portal or Biscayne Park. Those, I looked at municipalities that are similar to the city of Doral
Okay,
in size and dollar.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other questions? Yes, Councilwoman Pinedo.
Thank you, Mayor. As I expressed to the city manager during our meeting, I was in favor of this last year. For me, it's common sense more than anything else. And the fact that we actually voted for, selected a new city manager less than 60 days ago, certainly I trust in your judgment as a city manager, and I know that we're going to keep things transparent. And if I have any questions about any of the agreements, I know that I can reach out and make that request. So I think that we don't have to get behind other cities if we want to continue to be the city that we keep preaching that we are and that we are. But looking into the future of Doral, I think that we're making the right steps. So I place a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilman Pinedo,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Reynoso. I'll reiterate my comments as well. I think this is about efficiency. I was going to read out the names of the cities of comparable size that also are at this limit, which I think is for that purpose, is for efficiency's sake. All of our documents are extremely transparent and available. As a matter of fact, every agenda has a finance report attached, which shows all payments made out, contracts. So I think that as far as transparency goes, we have every tool and mechanism available. I have full confidence as well in our administration, and we have the right at all times to question and bring up any payments or contracts that have been approved. This does not eliminate contracts coming before us. Rather, it gives the manager authority up to this amount to make sure that we continue to provide services. Anything above that then absolutely comes here, and still those contracts are available to the public, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Motion to approve ordinance number 2025-12 on first reading made by Councilman Pinedo, seconded by Councilwoman Reynoso. Councilman Pinedo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reynoso?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Porras?
No.
Mayor Farah?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, we'll move on to second readings.
Second readings, item E, ordinance number 2025-05, amending section 80-258 Scrivener's error. An ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of Doral, Florida, approving /9 a text amendment to the city's land development code by amending chapter 80 sign regulations in section 80-2582B in order to correct a Scrivener's error, providing for incorporation into the code, severability, conflicts, and an effective date. This was approved on first reading on January 15th.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'm opening up public comments now for item 25-6004. Anyone who would like to speak on this item, please approach the podium at this time. Being none, public comments is now closed, and if there's no additional comments, I need a motion for approve.
Motion.
Motion to approve by Councilman Pinedo,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Reynoso. If there's no more comments, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Motion to approve ordinance number 2025-05 on second reading, made by Councilman Pinedo, seconded by Councilwoman Reynoso. Councilman Pinedo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reynoso?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Porras?
Yes.
Mayor Fraga?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, we move on to the next item, please.
Next item, item F, ordinance number 2025-07, amending Article 3, Boards, Committees, and Commissions. An ordinance of the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Doral, Florida, amending Article 3, Boards, Committees, and Commissions, and Chapter 2, Administration of the City's Code of Ordinances, establishing, confirming, and consolidating advisory boards, revising procedures for selecting alternate members, providing for implementation, incorporation into the code, severability, conflicts, and an effective date. This was approved on first reading on January 15th.
Okay, opening up public comments for item 25-6014. Anyone would like to speak, please approach the podium at this time. Being none, public comments is now closed. Members of the council, we bring this item before you today in an effort to consolidate some of our boards that seem to have duplicative roles. Also, this is quite a bit of work for staff, and so what we've done is to, in an effort to be more efficient and give these boards real meaning and really just be considerate of time that the volunteers are giving and give them directive on tasks. We've consolidated a few of the boards. I can go over the consolidations. It was all attached in the memo as well as in the ordinance, but if anybody has any questions about those consolidations, I'm happy to answer them at this time. Along with this item, I would request that we open up the board applications and give ourselves till April to bring back our nominations for each of the board. As you know, the charter did have an amendment to it where each member of the council appoints a member of the board. We did add a sixth member, which is an alternate member, because we were having quorum issues. So I will be providing two names, but each of you will have an opportunity to provide a name to the boards that will now exist. So if there's any questions, if not, I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilman Pinedo.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Reynoso. If there are no questions, Madam Clerk?
Motion to approve ordinance number 2025-07 on second reading, made by Councilman Pinedo, seconded by Councilwoman Reynoso. Councilman Pinedo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reynoso?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Porras?
Yes.
Mayor Fraga?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, move on to the next item.
The next item is item G, ordinance number 2025-08, establishing the Office of the Inspector General, an ordinance of the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Doral, Florida, amending Chapter 2 Administration, assigning and renaming Division 2 Office of the Inspector General, providing for implementation, incorporation into the code, incorporation recital, severability, conflicts, and an effective date. This was approved on first reading on January 15th.
Okay, we're opening up public comments for this item, item 25-6023. Public comments is now open. Anyone who would like to speak, please approach the podium. Being none, public comments is now closed. Madam Clerk, let the record reflect no one has chosen to speak at this time. This is the second reading. Mr. City Attorney, do you have any additional comments?
I do not. The item is pretty much identical to the one that you saw during our meeting in January. Right now, if you pass it, the next item will be for you to make your appointments so that this committee can get to doing its work.
Okay, if there's no additional comments, we will take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilman Pinedo,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Reynoso. Madam Clerk?
Motion to approve ordinance number 2025-08 on second reading, made by Councilman Pinedo, seconded by Councilwoman Reynoso. Councilman Pinedo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reynoso?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Porras?
Yes.
Mayor Fraga?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, we have item H.
Item H, a resolution of the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Doral, Florida, appointing a search committee for the selection of an Inspector General pursuant to Section 2.07 of the city's charter and Division 5, Article 3 of the city's Code of Ordinances, providing for the selection committee with a time frame, providing for authorization, implementation, incorporation of recitals, and an effective date.
Okay, thank you, Madam City Clerk. This does not need public hearing. This is basically an item that appoints the members to the selection committee for the Inspector General. I believe each of us provided a name. We need a motion to approve if there's no questions.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilman Pinedo.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Reynoso. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Motion to approve made by Councilman Pinedo, seconded by Councilwoman Reynoso. Councilman Pinedo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reynoso?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Porras?
Yes.
Mayor Fraga?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Madam Clerk, you'll be reaching out to the members of the committee.
Yes, to schedule a meeting shortly, because I do have a time frame. So, yes.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Item I, ordinance number 2025-09, creating Key to the City Proclamation and Certificate Policy. An ordinance of the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Doral, Florida, amending Chapter 2, Administration, assigning and renaming Division 2, Key to the City Proclamation and Certificates Policy and Procedures, providing for implementation, providing for incorporation into the code, incorporation of recitals, providing for a repealer, severability, and providing for an effective date. This was approved on first reading on January 15th.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're opening up public comments for item 25-6024. Anyone who would like to speak on this item, please approach the podium at this time. Being none, public comments is now closed. Madam Clerk, let the record reflect no one has chosen to speak at this time. I believe this is the second hearing. Hearing for this item. Mr. City Attorney, I do believe there was one change.
Yes, Madam Mayor. There is one change. On Section 2-53 proclamations, it should read, as you're going down, well, it should say, all approved proclamations are to reflect the current mayor, and should the mayor not be available to present the proclamation, then the vice mayor. In the absence of the vice mayor, then the mayor may select a council member. This section will be exactly the same as Section A of Key to the City.
Right.
That was a Scrivener's error, and that would be the one correction.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions on this item?
I have some comments, Mayor.
Vice Mayor Porras?
So my question concerns the certificates of recognition, and there's no language in this section on who presents the certificates. So either we get clarification on that, and this is something that I spoke to the attorney about. I was under the impression that the requesting council member would present the certificate along with the mayor, but it doesn't seem like that's the case because I requested certificates and I was told I wasn't going to present them. So I think we either need language in here clarifying who's going to present the certificates, or I'm going to ask that we change the language and abide by Section 2.02 of the charter.
All right, thank you for your comments. Any other comments? Any other comments? Being none? All right, we need a motion to approve as is.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilman Pinedo,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Reynoso. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Motion to approve ordinance number 2025-09 on second reading made by Councilman Pinedo, seconded by Councilwoman Reynoso. Councilman Pinedo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reynoso?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Porras?
No.
Mayor Fraga?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, I think the city attorney did provide a legal opinion to the councilwoman on the item that was just asked. This exhausts our agenda for the day. If no one has any other comments, we wish you all a very happy Valentine's Day, and we will see you all back here in our council meeting for March. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Pinedo, second by Councilwoman Reynoso. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. God bless you all.